I could not believe what you told Katie last night, that you like asked Schwartz if he wanted to make out.
I asked Schwartz if he wanted to make out.
I was like, am I about to be mad at Raquel for the first time?
We've been encouraging Raquel, get out there, make mistakes. But then when she says that she asked Schwartz to make out with her, it's like, okay, but not like that.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Wednesday, March 29th, 2023, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Listen, I've got a double dip today. So the first part of this video, we're going to talk about Josh Duggar and some Duggar tea. The back half of this video, we're going to talk a little bit about some Vanderpump Rules tea. I'm going to be slowly introducing this show into my channel because honestly it's becoming a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't know why, but I am literally almost done with season 4 and it's all I've done for the last 3 weeks. So I wanted to share it with you. And there's been some news this morning about a restraining order that has been dismissed related to Scheana Shay and Raquel Leviss. So let's talk about what's going on with the Duggars and we'll get over to Vanderpump. So if you know anything about this channel, we talk a lot about the Duggars. We also talk a lot about sister wives, and we've also talked, on this channel, I've covered lots of reality television. In fact, we've spoken about Kate, the Gosselin family, Little People, Big World. We did Teen Mom for a while. We've talked about Married at First Sight for a little bit. We've done videos on a variety of different shows. We've also dipped into some Netflix stuff and some Hulu stuff. So every now and then I see something and I'm like, oh, this will be interesting for you. So with the Duggars, we have covered extensively everything that's happened with Josh. We know that he is currently behind bars and that he will be there until October 2nd, 2032, according to the BOP's records. He just got out of the SHU, the Specialty Housing Unit, which the release happened last week. And Josh had been in there since mid-January due to having an illegal cell phone. During this period, in the next 6 months, Josh cannot have any visitors. He cannot have any he can't have any visitors. He can't have any phone calls. He can't have any emails if he gets access to email. And he also doesn't get commissary. So Josh still can have people send him letters, and that's about it. Josh's appeal was actually heard by the appeals court in February on the 16th, and it generally is about a 4 to 5 month turnaround for the appeals court to respond with their order or their ruling. So you would kind of expect to hear something about his case in July for those of you that are wondering why we haven't heard anything about Josh and what the appeals court says. Josh is still sticking to this idea that he has been set up, that he did not do this, and his wife Anna is still standing by him saying that she believes in his innocence. This has been quite a messy, several years, because in the thick of all of this, Josh, who was the sole provider for his family with Anna, his car lot, which is what we're going to talk about right now, was the center of this investigation. So back in 2019, Josh had a car lot. The car lot was basically a search warrant was issued by the Department of Homeland Security after they had gotten some IP information of someone downloading and uploading CSAM. And at the car lot, they took a bunch of his electronics and his phone, and they did this whole forensic sweep, which ultimately led to his arrest in April 2021, and then the subsequent trial conviction in December of 2021. Followed by his sentencing in May of 2022. So we are almost a year out from all of this at this point of the sentencing. Josh made his permanent home for now at Seagaville in July of 2022. So we know that Josh had this car lot, right? And the car lot had been the center of a lot of issues because the car lot was illegal for a long time. He didn't have the proper licensing. He didn't have the proper address. He didn't have lighting. He didn't have the right signs up. He didn't have the proper entities. He hadn't registered it with the city. He actually got into it. He actually almost got fined by the city for not coming into compliance, and he finally came into a compliance. He also got involved in a lawsuit related to another piece of property, which that title holder said that he had illegally purchased from someone else and didn't do a proper title search. So in the time leading up to Josh's arrest and conviction, there was a lot of legal issues, not only around the car lot, but other properties that he had owned. Since Josh no longer has this car lot, his cars were removed from his car lot in 2019 after the police or the HSI department did their search warrant, and they were, I believe, put over to the Champion Motor Cars, which is the lot that is owned by Jim Bob Duggar, but run by his brother Jed. While Josh was out on bail or during sort of his house arrest before his trial, he worked for Champion Motor Cars, which is Jed's company, or Jed's car lot owned by Jim Bob. And his motor lot, his wholesale motor cars, remained active, even though there wasn't like a physical presence. Okay. Throughout all of that, his business licenses have been managed and registered through the state of Arkansas, and now his wholesale motor cars lot has been revoked by the state of Arkansas. So wholesale motor cars, at the time of his trial, there was some stuff that his team was trying to get removed because of some statements from Five Stone Group, which was the overarching company that owned wholesale motor cars. And they had issued some pay stubs for different people that had worked for Josh, and they had done some subpoenas of the financials of the company. And Josh at the time was trying to say that he didn't release any of the information. It was released by Five Stone, but he really is Five Stone, since Five Stone was his company and he didn't have any other officers. Tit for tat there. Well, now, after years of inactivity, the state of Arkansas has finally revoked his business license. So Josh Duggar can no longer sell cars in the state of Arkansas under Five Stone Group, which is interesting because he's in prison. Now, Anna had been managing some of his leftover inventory, and her brother, actually, David, who married Hannah Reber, had been using his Facebook to sell some of the cars and the motorhomes that Josh had on his car lot. And they also, her brother and Josiah, were helping Anna offload some of the properties that Josh and her had accrued. So in the span of the time that of Josh's arrest, Anna dissolved nearly every single one of his businesses, but left the wholesale motor cars lot open, the business open, the license open. David, her brother, starts helping sell off inventory, and he starts working with Josiah Duggar, and the two of them start using Facebook to sell the inventory. And then they also help Anna unload different pieces of property that she owns, which she ultimately ends up selling nearly every single piece of property that they own. So at this point in time, they only have like one property or one company or two companies that are open, but neither one of those companies have any properties held in that name. So, and when I did a view of wholesale motor cars, they had a net income of zero, a tax liability of zero. So Josh Duggar's business is rendered worthless by the state, and he has no inventory according to tax records, and he hadn't updated any tax records since 2021. So Anna had previously updated tax records for the previous year to the state of Arkansas and to Washington County. But now, after a full year behind bars, the company is null. It has zero money, and Anna and Josh have no assets at this point. They have a couple LLCs that are still opened, but there is not any property, like physical, like homes or anything. In the middle of all of that, Josh has a lien that's been filed against the home that his parents' home in Tawny Town. So the federal government has placed a $50,000 lien on the home, Bob and Michelle Duggar, because that is the address that Josh is using while he's in prison. So Josh and Anna's assets are basically nothing at this point, and Anna has next to no income, literally at all at this point. And so her heavy reliance on Josh Duggar's parents is really where you see where we're at today. So now Anna's plan initially was that she had wanted to move down to Texas. Her thought process, I guess I was told, was that she was thinking or allegedly thinking about potentially moving down to about 15 minutes from Big Sandy, Texas, which is about an hour and a half away from Seagoville. So it's not next door to Seagoville, it's not near Seagoville, but it's near the IBLP, but it's closer than where Anna is living in Arkansas. Where she's in Arkansas, it's a 7-hour drive without stops. So it's not close in Texas, but it's way closer than Arkansas. But that plan has now been nixed as well because apparently she's not moving. And now she can't go see him for 6 months. So she's going to be hunkered down in Arkansas with the kids living in the Duggars' home. So Josh's net worth falls to probably -0 at this point. And Anna is relying on the Duggars to foot her bill. And so that has some of you in my comments saying, how can Anna ever leave if she's dependent on them financially? To which I say, I don't know. I do know that a lot of people leave toxic relationships every single day and they find a way to leave. But you know, it's not going to be an easy process if she does leave. But I will never hold out. I will never say no. I will never say something isn't possible. So with Josh Duggar and Anna Duggar's net income or net worth at a 0 or negative at this point, Anna's going to have to find creative measures if she wants to find a way to get out of this situation and actually move on with her life. And I'm not sure that that will actually happen. Yesterday in an interview with Allie Beth Stuckey, Ginger actually talked about how she and her what it's like to speak out against the IBLP and how difficult it is. She actually shared that speaking out can result in the complete and utter loss of community. Now, she didn't necessarily say who she's lost or what she's lost, but did start crying. And I do think that some of her siblings have been receptive to what she has said and have been appreciative of what she has said. Others are not as receptive, and I do think that her relationship with her parents continues to disintegrate. And as Ginger has to navigate that loss of community, you can see how someone like Anna, who would be leaving Josh, who doesn't have the best group of people to fall to because her dad is still a part of this, her parents are, her closest sister Priscilla and David are still part of it. She would have to go outside of that to people that are not involved, and that support system is way smaller. So for Anna to leave, she'd have to have a good support network. Ginger has a better support network than Anna, and she does have places that she could land, but speaking out and leaving is difficult. So Anna has decisions that she needs to make, and in time, let's just hope she goes that direction. Okay, so let's move on to Vanderpump Rules. So I have not talked about this a lot on my channel, and if you are brand new to the series, basically what this is it's a show all about Lisa Vanderpump and her restaurants. She is a stakeholder and a part owner of multiple restaurants in California, and the series, which has been running for 10 seasons, documents the servers, the bartenders, and the different individuals involved in her restaurants. In the very early seasons, you saw a lot of these same characters, and I would say caricatures. These people that are on the show were actually employees of hers. They were bartenders, they were waitresses, they were hostesses, they were busboys. And to date, like all these years later, you have some of them that are part owners of restaurants that are opening up their own restaurants, that are opening up their own sandwich shops, that have expanded into other facets of it. Some of them continue to work for her, whether it's as a DJ or as servers. Follows all these different characters. Some are still from the first season and some have left. And today you are seeing a bunch of kids that we met when they were in their 20s and 30s, now approaching into their 40s, some in their late 30s. And it's a very wild ride. The show has been an up and down success of ratings. Recently, it's been in the news because characters, and I say characters loosely, people on the show, two mainstays, Tom Sandoval, who has actually been on the series since the first year, very first season actually. He and one of the cast members, Raquel Leviss, began a torrid 8-month affair, and he is actually involved with a woman named Ariana Maddox. He has owned a home with Ariana and has been with Ariana since the third season of the series. And Ariana and him had previously hooked up while he was in a relationship with Kristen. So it's a lot of cheating. But Tom, for the last 7 seasons, has tried to make everyone believe that he's been loyal and faithful to Ariana, and they've had this very stable adult relationship, and you rarely saw any drama between the two of them. And now we find that he has been involved in this massive affair with Raquel, who actually, her name is Rachel, who was the ex-girlfriend of James Kennedy, who used to be a busboy, by the way, and was the ex-boyfriend of Kristen. It's such a tangled web. So when Tom and Kristen broke up, he started dating Ariana. Kristen started dating James. James then became his own character on the show. He got his own role. Then he started dating who? Raquel. And then he and Raquel actually got engaged, and they had this whole thing. And Tom Sandoval helped pay for the engagement party, about $25,000. And today we find ourselves where it's the end of season 9, and Raquel and James had split up. We find out that they hadn't even been having sex for 2 years before their split. Ariana and Tom were sort of in this, they bought a house, they were like playing house, they have a dog, they have a beautiful home in Los Angeles, and were living a seemingly domestic life. Ariana had never wanted to get married, she didn't want to have kids, but they had nestled into becoming sort of like life partners, business partners. They wrote a book together. Well, he sort of co-opted her cocktail book, and they were doing things like he's trying to open a restaurant, she's trying to open a sandwich shop. Everything seemed to be chill. Then in March, this whole thing blows wide open because Ariana finds out that that Tom is cheating on her, and she does this because she finds phone messages, FaceTime messages, in fact, that Tom had saved on his phone of him and Raquel involved in some self-pleasure, and it was a FaceTime that was apparently recorded by Tom and saved by him, and she found it, and then she confronted Raquel, and then we get to the story of Raquel says that her best friend, Scheana Shay and Ariana have been best friends for more than 10 years and have worked together that entire time. Scheana was with Raquel when this all went down, and Raquel says that Scheana punched her in the face and left her with bruises, a concussion, and a dizzy head. And then as the story is breaking, mind you, while everyone's hating on Rachel, she files a restraining order against Scheana. Totally a mess, right? And Scheana denied that she hit Raquel. And Raquel files for the restraining order, says she's scared, that she feels like Scheana will attack her again. Mind you, Scheana had just found out that Raquel was having a torrid love affair with her best friend's boyfriend of 10 years. So Raquel tried to switch the narrative and say that she was a victim of Scheana and she was not a victim of an affair. Anyways, they had to have this entire reunion last week filmed. It was such a mess. They had to be like in different parts of the lot. They had to stay in their trailers while they couldn't be on the set together because of the restraining order. And Raquel was adamant that she was punched in the face, and without a crystal ball even obtained the copies of her restraining order request. And it was kind of ridiculous because she wrote it herself. She filed it herself. She didn't even have an attorney when she filed it. And Scheana had denied that all of this went down. So at the reunion last week, Raquel serves a paper on Scheana that's not legal in any capacity and says that she's going to withdraw the restraining order and take the case off the docket, which never happened. So this morning, Scheana obviously still had to go to court because there was still a court hearing, and Rachel didn't show up. So after making it impossible for Scheana and her to be in the same room for the reunion, making everyone think that Scheana or punched her in the face, Scheana ends up winning because Raquel doesn't show up. And so the temporary restraining order has been dismissed. And I just want to share the responses from the attorneys here because I find this whole thing kind of interesting. Okay, so Shay's attorney told ET, who is Nima Ramani, he says, this isn't reality TV. This is the real world, and Rachel's actions have real consequences. Rachel filed a false police report, a false medical report, and a frivolous petition for a restraining order. Scheana didn't punch Rachel. Rachel didn't get a black eye, and Scheana pushed Rachel, but only after Rachel grabbed her wrist, and Rachel did not suffer a concussion. When Rachel realized that she would lose in court, that she didn't, and that she didn't just drop it, she decided to not show up. We were prepared to expose Rachel's lies, but instead she will have to live knowing that she betrayed two of her best friends, Scheana and Ariana. Instead of accepting responsibility for her actions, Rachel shamefully tried to misuse our justice system to shift blame to Scheana, and we are happy that Scheana is now vindicated. So Scheana was also friends with Rachel, and Rachel was also friends with Ariana. So basically, Rachel was sleeping with her best friend's boyfriend, and sometimes at their house. Okay. Now, Rachel's representative said this. Scheana and her attorney were notified from the reunion to emails that Raquel wasn't moving forward with the restraining order. The court was notified by Raquel's counsel that we were not attending and are not moving forward, and we had filed paperwork requested by the court clerk which is stamped received. Their attendance was a grandstand, which was predictable, but at least he finally admits there was physicality involved, and Rachel stands by her initial statements that Scheana punched her in the face, and which is supported by photos of her bruised eyebrow bone and slashed eyebrow, not the dark circles that Scheana is trying to deflect towards. All I can say is Scheana has really long nails. It didn't look like she was punched in the face, and Rachel tried to misuse the justice system. That's my opinion. The next episode of Vanderpump Rules airs tonight, and I would say if you're interested in watching people cheat on each other, drink copious amounts of alcohol, and just want mindless, mind-numbing entertainment, check out this show. It's been fun for me to get invested in something that isn't so heavy. And I'm still going to be on Team Ariana, who, by the way, has released merchandise of this whole incident, released merchandise and announced the release of her merchandise, Team Ariana. And I've decided that I want the tote bag. So if you are a VPR rules fanatic, let me know in the comments and tell me what your thoughts are about Josh Duggar losing his business below. Bye, guys.